Do you yearn for a safe place of solace, upliftment, and transformation? New Human Podcast is your portal for the hands-on development of your superpowers. Welcome to the New Human Podcast. Enjoy. Hello, my dear new humans. I'm so excited. This is the first episode of this podcast, and this is the perfect time for it. I think I have waited my whole life long to be in this state. I always knew that there was more. And I guess that you probably feel the same way. You probably picked or are looking at this podcast because something called you, something made you feel like, oh, wait a minute, what is here? What is this? And what this is really a celebration of our evolution. It is a sensing into the enhanced capacities that we really have now. Have you noticed that? Just this whole year, have you noticed? Even though there were, and there still will be, so many upheavals, so many unexpected just shakes, sort of like all kinds of tsunamis, earthquakes, you name it. But I think sensitive people really are noticing an upgrade, not just one, many upgrades. You may have noticed that you were surprised during COVID that maybe you turned out food that was way more imaginative, way more inspired than what you usually make. You may have realized that, maybe you decided to plant something in your yard because, again, of COVID, or because you started to think that it would be a good thing to have a vegetable garden, and that somehow you brought a touch to it that really created just this inspired, beautiful, planted bed that really just brings you incredible joy. And these are just, of course, very simple examples. For some people, it's really the creation of maybe a book, or maybe the way that they approach work. I really think that we're just moving into this higher frequency where this deep yearning that I think many of us have had, where we sort of knew there must be more. There just must be more. But it just felt like, no, you're stuck with, the usual selection of movies, the usual selection of junk foods and fast foods, and just sort of like what is available. And it is true that after having lived in Brazil for a while, to come back to the US, we moved back to Miami in 2019. And we definitely knew that it was a sort of a preparation for this. And of course, America is so awesome on the level of it has everything. It has so many things that you can buy, compared to, for example, the vegetables in Brasilia. There were just, there were beets and many root vegetables and some lettuces and things like that, and maybe sometimes something else, but not that much. It was always probably around the same stuff. And here we have all of this, but there's just sort of this sense of an upgrade, of now we can feel into an experience of really being matched, really being inspired, really being creative, that I feel was not as available to everyone before. Before, I think that there were like the few that were very, very creative. But I think now it's an awakening that we all have that, and that we're all really here to bring our specific energy into the foreground. That each one of us has this amazing flavor, and that all the flavors together create this symphony that then will create a complete, much more uplifted, new experience of ourselves and the world. And I am so excited to really delve into this, to really explore with you about all of our capacities, about sleep, the miracle, the magic of what happens when we sleep and how we completely restore ourselves, about health and how we can actually really enhance our immune system and actually create a blueprint for genetic expression. I would love to, of course, interview people such as Dr. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, people who can bring the scientific aspect of this miraculous opportunity that, of course, is based on, in science, on quantum physics, quantum biology, just really that recognition that, everything affects each other, and that our energy affects, of course, what we experience, that what we feel creates that new world. And so, of course, it would be lovely to have these amazing scientists really sort of like bring in their way of explaining all of this. But what I really want to share with you is just this amazing joy and energy that I would love to celebrate with you. That all of us are awakening to paradise, to an experience of this world that is such a far cry from what it was when we first grew up. And that is just amazing to me. It is as if we were born for this time, or reborn into this time. It is as if before that it was just sort of a training for what now is present time living, and that every minute counts. There's no more time to dilly-dally. There's no more time to think, yeah, that'd be great, but it's not in the cards for me. There's no more time to sit on the sidelines. There's no more time to think, well, safe is better. There's none of that. For all of you, this is a real call to action on a level that you can do wherever you are. It doesn't mean that you need to quit your job if you have one. It doesn't mean that you need to disappear if right now you got laid off. It means that you really can trust that you're being supported by an energy that just has never been there on this level. I trust that if you're listening to me, you understand energies, but let me just explain that obviously you can tell that there is an energy that actually governs you all day long. It's not necessarily my conscious mind that is running my body. I wouldn't know where to begin. That wisdom, that benevolent wisdom that organizes me and even organizes me if I were to be sort of self-destructive. It never gets mad. It always tries to do its best. It is such an experience just on that level. I mean, back in the day when I was pretty self-destructive, I was always so amazed that my body didn't get mad at me. If anything, it tried to do the best it could, given the situation that I was putting it in. And that, to me, if anybody has any doubt that there is some amazing, benevolent, bigger than me energy that takes care of us, that one really proves it beyond any question. And so this energy that was always there now, though, has a complete new dimension to it, which is really this dimension where things that before seemed reserved for the elite few, maybe, I don't know if it was the elite or the lucky ones, or maybe they had great karma or whatever, like the rock star or the amazing artist or the most intelligent researcher or scientist or whatever. This energy is now really available around the globe to all of us. It's tangible. Whether I am in the Amazon in Brazil and I don't even know, maybe I'm part of indigenous people. I mean, they were always connected with that. But even for them, this energy now is stronger. And it's just available. So I am so excited to welcome you into a celebration and into an exploration of this energy and how it upgrades you more and more as we're moving into this new age that is characterized by more air energy, more visionary energy, more genius, just less material, less earth, less heavy, and just much more inspired. And I hope that you feel this and that you really are starting to sense in your body the movement of the energy as it sort of like gently really gives your whole spine more energy to be well. So you may, at this moment, want to breathe into your body and really just sense what it's like to sit on your sits bones if you're sitting, or to sense the base of your trunk if you're laying there, your hips, your creative organs, to really feel that container of power, your real center, your sense of the stability of you, the center of you, and just experience this energy very gently moving up through your creative center from your root, and then from there to your power center, to your sort of like more conscious power center in your solar plexus. From there, of course, in your heart, since now our energy is moving and coming, inspiring much more from the heart. And then from there into the throat, into the part that actually expresses our color of energy, our specific signature of energy that we are now really starting to explore and really own for ourselves. Our brand, if you want to put it commercially. So that is your throat. You may notice certain parts of these centers, certain centers being easier to access, certain centers being a little bit more difficult to access. From our throat, we're going to go to our third eye. The third eye obviously is the pineal gland. It is your intuition. It is, what the two eyes may not see, but the invisible, the immaterial, which is really what we're getting more capable of seeing. We're really all becoming more and more capable of really sensing universal principles, the universal energy. So this is what our third eye does. And then, of course, the top of our head, which is pretty much always connected, which is I love so much. For any time that I feel so separate, there's always a connection from here to the heavens at all times. The experience that I had with that is a long time ago. I was alone at home and I took a very hot bath. And I think I've stayed in that bath for maybe 40 minutes or more. And then I heard the phone ring. So without noticing, I just got up, got out of my bath, and started to feel basically, orthoscopic hypotension, which is just basically that my blood pressure, which is low already, dropped way more just because all of the blood vessels had relaxed in the bath. And so there was not enough pressure to bring the blood as I was moving from laying in the bath to getting up to the head so that I wouldn't feel faint. So I felt super faint and super thirsty, probably because of the bath as well. So I just barely, I knew that I needed to lay down, so I barely made it to my bed. And I closed my eyes because I felt like I was going to faint. And what was so amazing is what I saw was a tunnel. And at that time, it was clear that it was the same tunnel that people are talking about, that they are moving through the movements of death, through the preparations for dying and moving to the other side. And what I had realized at that time, which was so exciting, was that I had seen that tunnel many times before in my meditations. And I would think that many of you are nodding. That tunnel is always here. So that connection always to what feeds us, what inspires us, what brings us light, what brings us energy, what basically, it's like we never are separate, except for, of course, when we look in the mirror and we see ourselves without any roots going into the ground and without any tunnels moving from our heads. But energetically, there is no such thing. We cannot be separated. It just is impossible. And obviously, you can see that just even from the breathing point of view. You cannot separate yourself from your breath. It's just part of it. You are always being moved and irrigated and oxygenated by your surroundings and what's outside becomes inside, and what's inside becomes outside. And this is just this beautiful exchange that even happens on the level that on some level is so simple, which is the level of breath. So I just wanted to explain the connection that you receive from your crown. This is why it is called the crown, because I really think it is the circumference, as if you were wearing a crown, which you rightfully are. Everyone is. And it's not like it used to be in human thought, which is sort of like that there's a difference between people, that there's maybe a caste system or, socioeconomic system, or that only blue bloods wear crowns. All of us wear crowns. And the crowns are made of universal light that is beyond price. It's beyond the price of any precious metal. And this is, I think, what is dawning on us, is that we are precious beyond price. And that now we get to actually explore and go into this invisible energy and start making it very visible, very familiar, very much ours. And of course, as we do this, our sense of who we are, our sense of how special we are, our sense of our uniqueness, just like every drop in the ocean is so different, will be highlighted, will really be developed for us. And this is really what true self-esteem is all about. It's not about, well, I made such and such amount of money, or I have a PhD behind my name, or I am married to so-and-so, or I wear designer brands. All that is perfectly fine. It's perfectly lovely, but it's really to actually feel how precious and special each person is, and how we all are here for a reason, and we all bring our secret sauce, our special touch, our special capacity, our gifts, and share them. So I truly hope that this inspires you to fall in love with yourself. And I'm looking forward to many episodes where we have fun exploring the amazing awakening that is taking place. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.